Call the immediate murder professionals. Yeah, woohoo! Hello, all you fishies out there, and welcome back to a new episode of the Bullsharkbaitart's clay figure video episodes. Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Make sure you like and subscribe and click that notification bell. Also, check out my social medias. All that hullabaloo, all that nonsense. You see, we're starting another figure. So this guy's already done, but we are changing things up a little bit. We are going to be putting out videos of the clay figures in parts now. So it's just a little easier on me. It's less stress, less editing all at once, because normally it would take me, a whole day or 2 days to edit a video and get things done. So we're going to break it up into, parts. So this might be, I think, a 4-part episode? I don't know. I'm going to try to keep them, under 30 minutes a piece. And then that way you get all the content. So right now I'm making that metal frame and just, showing you guys what my process. Building the metal frame of this character. Obviously, you saw at the beginning of the video. It's your boy Blitz. We love him. I do know I have requests still pending. Those are going to be starting next. I just wanted to throw in a video, for myself and do something that I really enjoyed and, a character that I liked and, hit the different fandoms and just do something a little different. So we're going to be going back to a couple SCP videos after this that were requested. So I think the next one is SCP-3000 or something. It's like an eel. You'll see some previews of that at the end, the very end, the last part of this series. You'll get a little sneak peek of SCP, I believe 3000, the eel monster creature thing underwater that eats people and I think makes you go crazy and then it eats you or whatever. So that'll be next. And then there's another SCP which you did kind of see, some previews for, and we talked about. Can't remember. It's the mask. I can't remember what the number is. I think it's 034 or something. But we are going to be going back to that after. So I'm going to try to get them all done in succession and in order as they were requested. So it'll be 3000, then the other, the mask. And then I believe there is 1 or 2 others that were requested. I do have a list written. I can't remember at the moment. But, you'll find out and you'll see. So they'll be, each video is going to be in parts now. So you'll get, 1 or 2 episodes, maybe a week, just depending. I'm not making any 100% promises. But the idea is to get a video out every Wednesday or Thursday, depending. I'm going to try to do every Wednesday, and which is going to be 1 part, 2 part, 3 part, 4 part, or 5 parts, or 3 parts, just depending on how complicated the figure is, what I do. I just wanted to give you guys this information. So that is that. It'll be in parts. So this is part 1 of this figure. We got a little pause. We got some adjusting of the camera. We're putting on that the clay in the bottom. Of course I'm using more Sculpey, but I'm using a mixture. So I'm mixing I had some leftover Sculpey Ultralight for that bottom part. I get that idea from Ace of Clay. Always make sure to go check him out too. Ace of Clay inspires me for a lot of these videos, and I got a lot of my ideas from him because I made clay figures before, but he really helped me, figure out the wood base, the bacon bond, or the oven baked clay adhesive, the Sculpey Ultralight, those wire frames, the baking the frame and the the clay parts beforehand, like baking it individually so that way it's firm and stable. And of course we're adjusting the camera because yep, little bit of adjusting. So, you know, it's just we're doing our thing. We're just making this guy and making him. I don't know why I put so much effort into the bottom part. You don't even get to see that because it all gets covered. But you see in the process, which is cool. And you also get to see, you can tell it's baked now because you can't see the white goop where that adhesive, the bacon bond was. But yeah, and of course I'm like, okay, I'll be smart. I'll put the head wire in. Sometimes I have some figures that are started like that, the base, and of course I would forget to put that extra wire in there for the head. So couple I have to drill, couple I don't have to drill. Like I did have to drill a hole for the tail too, because of course I didn't even consider that. And I'm kind of glad I did end up drilling the hole for the tail, because it would have been way more complicated otherwise. So yep, you get to see me making those little snakes of clay to put on the arms. So we're going to have that base to start building off of. And yeah, that's pretty much what it is. And, you know, I'm trying to have it in the camera. Later on, I do a lot of stuff off camera, which, fair warning, there are some parts that are off camera. Like, specifically, you'll see, like, down the line, Blitzo's face, or Blitz's face. His face, I ended up painting off camera, so I will apologize for that now, and I will let you know that on the later part when you get to see closer to that point. So I pretty much show almost everything except for that bit, just because I'm filming with my phone and a ring light, and that's how I record right now. So trying to record me painting his face would have been so difficult without a second person helping me. And I'm just working, you know, by myself. I always say, you know, Jesus is behind the camera, but ultimately I don't have a second camera person. I don't have a cameraman. So, you know, I got God helping me, but I don't have somebody actually filming. So I got to do it myself. So unfortunately for me, trying to paint his face, I had my brushes, like I have detail brushes, but they're kind of messed up right now. So I had to get real close to his face and work with that detail brush. Unfortunately for me, it kept messing up, and I was like, okay, if I try to film this while I have his face, like, I had it like inches from my eyes, so I could see what I was doing. I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to film that unless somebody was helping me, or I had like some, you know, one of those attachments that goes on your table maybe that like could hover over my head and look right down from where my head was, which I probably would have banged it anyway. I don't have that tool yet. There are some things like it's just not something I want to invest in quite yet, because it's like I want to make sure I'm getting more subs. I'm getting, you know, my channel is growing before I start buying a bunch of stuff. You know, every YouTuber I know says, like, don't just start with what you got and do your best and be consistent and don't worry about the rest later. So it's like once I have more money to invest in the channel, then I can invest more. I mostly am just investing in, you know, materials. So this guy's body is all made out of, I believe it's all Sculpey Ultralight and a little bit of this other Sculpey clay. It's like off to the side, but it's like this really sticky Sculpey, but I decided to get that because I wanted to eventually mix it in with my other clay. So I mixed it in with the Sculpey Ultralight to do the bottom, the base, this base part. I mixed it in with the Sculpey Ultralight, so it was really light. So as I added on layers, it wouldn't be too heavy. because this guy does move, and you will see as I bake it, this guy wobbles and he moves because I use Sculpey Ultralight and this other really like sticky clay. I didn't really like that clay, but it is good to mix with other clay, which I'm going to go grab it. Let's just find out. Okay. It's just Sculpey Original. I'm seeing it. Yeah, it was on sale. I had a coupon. I was at Michael's, I think. I was looking for different Sculpey clay, and I was like, oh, this is on sale. I have a coupon. I'd rather use this. And then I use my Cos clay, which eventually I'm going to have to buy more because I'm starting to slowly run out. But most of the Sculpey I have is all been used up. Then I'm left with like Cos clay. So I was like, how can I make this extend more, and how can I make this work? So since Cos clay is super stiff, really hard to work with, I was like, I'm just going to mix the Sculpey Original with the Cos clay, and it should work perfectly fine, and kind of extend the life of the Cos clay, which worked out really well. Right now, you can't tell. It's like, this is obviously Sculpey Ultralight with the Sculpey Original. So it's kind of like, you can see right now, it's like very sticky. When I'm working with it, I'm trying to squish it and smooth it and do my best and just make it smooth enough so that way when I put on the second layer, so I can smooth that out more, because the second layer has the actual Cos clay in it. So I'm just doing that basic frame so that way I could bake it so it would stay stiff, nothing was moving on me. Of course, it's still bent a little bit, and man, once I put the Cos clay, it's funny because it's like I put a little bit of Cos clay, which I think that base might have some Cos clay in it because it's like an off color. It's not, and I see my light is really bright, and I apologize. It is so fluorescent. I'm probably gonna have to change to a different lighting. Like, you can see it, but it's very bright. I know it's very bright. Might have to dull that down if I can. I don't know. I'm still learning, so bear with me. I know each episode not perfect. It's white, so of course it's going to be really bright. I was using my ring light on like the LED setting, so I'm like, oh, I want it bright so I can see better. But it makes it like the white is just like shiny and bright and like super fluorescent in that LED. So it's just like, whoa, in your face. Holy biscuits. But, when I get that shadow in there, it's not so bad. But it's better once I start getting to the next parts. And it's just the base is kind of bright because it's very light. But we'll know for next time the base, if it's going to be white, we'll just change it to a different light setting. So it's not so bad. So it's not like blaring out your eyes. But sorry, I got off track. That Sculpey. So yes, later on, I guess I'll talk about it more later, but it's like that Sculpey Original mixed with Cos clay. It softens up the Cos clay so it's easier to work with. Plus, with the Cos clay is, it's like, gosh, it's basically like plastic. It's like clay. It's like plastic in clay form. That's how I would describe it. It's like clay plastic. It's bendable, but when you're originally working with it, it's so stiff and it's like crumbly and plasticky. So I like to mix it in with like usually Sculpey. Oh, now we're doing the neck part. So yeah, we're moving on. It's getting there. You'll get to see as time goes on. The next bits, it's going a little quicker. Instead of having to watch me with the fluorescent white in your face. See, now it's not too bright, which is nice. I probably changed up the light settings a couple times. So it might get brighter. Might get not as bright in a couple parts. It's just sitting there for a second while I'm talking. Because we gotta keep talking about this Cos clay, man. It's good. I love it. It's great for like making stuff, and you'll see the sculpture as I work with it. is able to bend the entire freaking time, which sometimes is kind of annoying because his limbs are really thin. Then he's got his tail and the horns, and it's like, it's mostly the arms were a pain in the butt because they're so thin, and I used the Sculpey original mixed with the cosplay, and it ended up bending a lot. So like the arms wanted to like crack a teeny bit. There was a little crack in it, but I ended up covering it up and fixing it up. So it was fine in the end, but you know, I kept having to adjust his arms because they kept wanting to move, because I love the cosplay. It's great for moving stuff. So if you want movable parts, and you'll get to see down the line, like his outfit, his clothing moves, his fingers are bendable, even his horns are bendable, his head can move, his tail's movable, like he can wobble back and forth. But he's pretty durable. Like, this is a very durable figure. I wouldn't recommend throwing it on the floor, but if it were to fall down, I think it could definitely survive. It's more likely that it would break off of the plaque. Although I super glued this puppy onto the plaque, because as you can see, I'm doing that layer. Now we have the cosplay, a gray cosplay, medium gray cosplay mixed with that Sculpey original, where I'm doing the body right now. And that's going to be that main part that I'm going to be covering it with that gray, and then just kind of adding on to it. Like, I added pieces onto it later on. So that's the main part that I worked with right there. So of course the arms I could move the arms and bend them around and get them out of my way. And then I eventually picked what position. So I bent them a little bit so that his arms were a little bent, because I just liked the way it looked. We'll give him a little bit more motion, because he kind of looks like he's like, yeah, woohoo. I got one of his reference pictures from the show, obviously, like the pilot, which had a lot of good reference photos. So I was like, okay, you know, I'll use some of the pilot to look at and do this and that. So we're just smoothing that out. Man, that cosplay mixed with that Sculpey original, or just Sculpey in general, like, what is the other one? Super Sculpey. If you mix cosplay with Super Sculpey, or cosplay with like Sculpey original that I'm discovering, it works real well. It makes it so much easier to use. Of course, originally when you work with the cosplay, it will crumble. So that's why I like having another clay in there to mix with it. So that way it picks up all those little pieces and you can work them together, and it makes it so much easier to work in. And then it makes it easy to smooth in the end. It's not super stiff. It's very easy to work with, because one clay is super, you know, squishy, and the other one is super hard. So when you mix them together, they work really well. I don't know why it does it, but for some reason, Sculpey and cosplay work so well together, and they blend so well. And despite having Sculpey mixed with the cosplay, the figure is very sturdy, movable, yada yada, which is amazing, because normally Sculpey isn't really bendable, and that's the whole thing about cosplay, is it's the bendable clay, and it's like plastic, and you can move all the parts. But man, Sculpey, I gotta give them props. Like, if they wanted to sponsor me, heck yeah, I would love that, because them with cosplay work so well. Like, if down the line, if cosplay, Sculpey, man, they wanted to partner together, or like give me sponsors in the future, that would be beautiful. Not sponsor right now, but man, I would love that, because these products are so good and they work so well together, and it makes makes sculpting real good, real easy. Even though they're, you know, two different products, they work really well together, and it makes the sculpture real good. You just have to be careful though, because of course you'll see down the line, he is wobbly. He wobbles. And you can kind of, I don't know if you can tell now. You probably can tell now, sort of, but you can see the body, like, it moves Okay, yeah, you got to see I had to adjust his legs a couple times to get the right position that I wanted him to stay in because he keeps moving. Of course. I love it. It's good, but it's like this guy's gonna keep moving. If you just worked with plain Sculpey or Super Sculpey, it's gonna stay, it's not gonna move. But with the cosplay, it does make it pliable and bendable, which is good, you know, if you have like movable parts or you want your figure to be able to move a little bit. It's very cool. It just adds a little extra oomph, you know. And there's another pause. I guess I paused for a moment. I left in a couple pauses just because I was like, I need to give myself some time to talk. Because of course, I'm not putting any music in right now. I'm just talking over it because, you know, I gotta pay for the music in order to put it in there to not get demonetized. Because in the future, I'd like to, you know, be monetized. So it's like, okay, I'm just gonna talk and you get to hear me be crazy, which is fun because I like to think I'm slightly entertaining. Even just a little bit of entertainment just to entertain you. And it's a good video. You know, if you ever want to make your own figure, you're gonna know what to do. And you know, I love, you know, I love Ace of Clay, but like lately his videos, he hasn't been talking as much, which I don't know. For me, I know some people hate when you talk, and there will be people like that who are like, don't talk at all. But I love hearing Ace of Clay talk about his figures and give me background about, you know, his original characters and stuff like that. I love hearing all that stuff. So that's why I was like, okay, well, personally, I'd like to talk during the video so I can tell you what I'm doing. You get some info. Oh, we pulled the figure off screen for a little bit. Now he's back in frame. So now we're doing the legs. Yeah, so now look, he looks all smooth and nice. And this angle won't stay. Like, there will be parts where I do change what position the camera is. So right now the camera's obviously, it's coming from the right. It's coming from the right. So like I'm working like in the center or my center on the table, and then you're watching from the right. But it'll change a couple times. Mostly when I'm painting is when I change the angle, cuz like it's harder to, you know, when the figure's turned sometimes sideways or whatever, and obviously it helps me if I'm painting. I need to be able to see what I'm doing, obviously. So, you know, I gotta change the angle so you can see and I can see, and it makes my life easier. And, you know, this is the body. It's almost done. Pretty much, this is the first part. So look forward to the second part. It should be coming out either by the end of the week or next week. I'd like to maybe put it out by the end of the week, just depending. I don't know. I don't know yet. I know for sure I'd like to have a video out every week, hopefully every Wednesday, but, you know, once a week, trying to do every Wednesday so I'm consistent, and that helps, you know, the stinking algorithm, because the AI doesn't like people, and a little channel like me getting started, it's very difficult. So that's pretty much the goal, is to do, you know, once a week, and I'll try to put out an extra video if I can, so that way you get the parts and you don't have to wait a whole month for one part, because I know that's a lot of time and some people want to make these. So if you want to make it, then I'm going to do my best to, you know, when I can, put out like 2 episodes in a week, so that way you can do, you know, you can make this figure too, and it's, you know, it's something for you guys, because I like making my figures, but I want to give other people the chance to make these figures too, and see what I do, and see my process, and see that, you know, you can make it too, because I am a big believer in anybody can be an artist if you are willing to take the time and put in the effort to make something. It just takes time. So, we're almost at the end of the video. Did you like and subscribe and put the notification on, and did you check out the social medias? Because I post the pictures of these figures on my social medias, man. Don't forget that. Like my Instagram, it's Bullsharkbaitart. Same thing. So it's like Bullsharkbaitart on YouTube, Bullsharkbaitart on Instagram. And my Instagram has my linktree, and I believe I put my linktree on my YouTube videos now. So you can go on the linktree. There's links to all my stuff, because I also do Twitter, and I don't do Twitter as much, and I mostly use Twitter for like my stories, because I write on the side. So I like write fan fiction and post art, and my more like mature content that can't be on here will be on like Twitter and stuff like that. That can't be on here, obviously, because demonetization. So, and then eventually I'd like to tell you, I'm still working on the Patron thing, still figuring that out, still figuring out the tiers, but I know I have time. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Get ready for part 2 of Blitz. You will see that very soon. We're coming to the end of the video. We got the base done. The next part is putting on them details. So you get to see the hands and the head and yada yada. I don't know exactly what part comes first, because I can't remember at the second, because I'm editing this in parts. But you'll get to see the next part next. Look forward to it very soon. I will try to get it out to you guys as soon as possible. And I'm pretty much just going to be signing off here. You guys stay mad. Have a nice day. Be blessed. And bye-bye. Woo. Doo-doo-doo. The end.